Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining me. This is a very important webinar for you if you are thinking of telling your story or promoting your book or really giving your message to the world. Now, I have been in this process for the last few years. I haven't published yet, but I'm about to. And so I've been on the run around finding out all the different options that are available to potential authors. And of course, because of Women of Truth, if you've seen any of my other videos, we have many, many speakers who are actually authors. And many of them have shared their process with me. I actually have met lots of publishers through them. And I've then been scouting all the different options. And that is today's webinar. So I'll be spending about 20 minutes giving you the highlights. 3 very important ways to actually promote your book in a much more high-end kind of strategic based way. And I'm also going to share with you why I choose to do that particular selection of these 3 as opposed to others, because there are many ways to promote a book, and there are many ways to actually leverage the book, and many ways that you can actually target more high-end type clients with your book, but it involves a lot more specific detail. The 3 things that I've chosen today are really going to help everybody that wants to think of a new and interesting way to have more high visibility, like it's a higher visibility option. And this is why I wanted to share it with all of you, is because I think nowadays, actually, if you want to have important content out there with reputation and credibility, it's really important that you think more about how you're going to get yourself, your brand, and your bigger message visible to the world, to the masses. So what about if I give to you these 3 tips, you test them out, see if they work for you, and then perhaps you can even message me or comment on this video and tell me if they've worked. So the first 3 things that you're going to look at as a general kind of concept around your book promotion is the letter C, again the letter C, and again the letter C. I've given you this acronym, CCC, because you're going to remember them in your mind and be much more quick on your feet about it all. So first thing is community. How can you actually build this community of people that can deliver your message really strongly to the community culture, that are going to be able to receive what you have to say in a way where they already have a relationship with you, so they would be investing more in what it is that you have to say. They'd be trusting more of what you have to say, and they already have a bond, an emotional connection with you. So their way of absorbing your information is very different. Now, community building is actually becoming a really hot topic because it's something we all need more than anything else, is deep connection right now. Post-COVID, the big changes in the world, a lot of distrust and doubt around us. We are working more and more remote, so we need really much more assured ways of feeling like we belong somewhere, that we actually have like-mindedness, that we are with people that really care for us and that actually understand us. So building a community is very important because your message matters. And whatever you've chosen to spend hours and hours and hours writing a book about, it obviously has an impact. And I think now the community or the following that you're going to be connected to actually brings your book into a much bigger set of possibilities. It means that you can use this book in many different ways and for many different purposes. If you are selling it to your community, you also have many ways of leveraging the content and the product itself into other products and other types of content. But really what's important here when you build a community is to think about the kind of platform for your content that would be bigger support for all of your work if you have more work than the book. And that platform is not just as simple as the social media ones that we all talk about. There are actually platforms that give you very unique usability, like their membership platforms where you can actually have your community sign up. There are actual online e-learning courses type communities, platforms where, again, your book would just be an added feature, which you would promote to that community at a certain point. And or you could have something as simple as a Facebook group, which really builds the community, the culture of the community, and then you would be selling your book as maybe little bits about your book through that Facebook group. But this whole community concept is really important because it gives you a following, an audience, and a long-term plan with what you're doing, not just the selling of this book, because I'm sure there's going to be other things you want to do with these potential clients. And if there isn't, you should start thinking about that, because that's really, really an important aspect of publishing. The second really important thing I wanted to mention for you today was the nomination, my nomination type option. And by this, I'm talking about awards. Now, this is a way of building the second C called credibility. This is a really important thing. So many people are writing books nowadays. It's very hard to choose who actually should you consider an expert and who not. Even if someone's not an expert, you might really be interested in what they have to say. If you can find some credibility for what they do, it could be very, very powerful for you. So when you are building your credibility, ask your friends, your colleagues that actually read the book before other people that you will be selling to, like your cold leads, to actually perhaps nominate you for an award. Now, this has been something that's of recent years quite trendy. It's quite a powerful thing to see authors given an award, going to award ceremonies. There's specific book launches for many books all at once. It's like a book exhibit in a way, and like a gallery of art, you get a gallery of books. And this was very popular before COVID, and now they are starting up again. So you have them like in London, in Scotland, in the US, in Australia, and many different awards are also run online. I just visited a few posts on Facebook that were talking about this in specifics. And then you would see those authors go on to do other things. And then, of course, it builds the personal branding around you and your business. And of course, the book is just a tool or a symbol of the bigger scope of your work. So how can you get nominated? And another great tip here is to actually nominate other authors. This will get the ball rolling. You'll get them to know about your book. You'll say, hey, I just wrote a book and I realized how hard it is. And I just want to honor you. And I think this is great. I love the book that you wrote, and I would love to nominate you for this award. And you never know if the favor would be returned in that way kindly, or you outright ask one or two people that you think had a great experience reading your book to nominate you. They may not have that resource. You may not know exactly if that's the right thing for you, but they can nominate you, and you can go ahead and start exploring different ways for you to be on different platforms in that way too. This also serves as a brilliant way to post and to give content a little bit about the book as you posting, but not directly posting about the book, because we all know direct sales is problematic at the best of times. And of course, when we are trying to really sell something, it's really not the bigger picture of it, is it? You're really looking to share what you feel and what you've learned through writing a book with other people. So you want to have many opportunities to do that, and getting a nomination is a really great way. So I've called that your award. And then the third tip I have for you under another C called communicate is probably a little bit easier to understand and more commonly used and much more trendy and obvious. But it has a lot of detail and a lot of variation and a lot of change in the marketplace right now. And it's nothing other than interviews. Now, your interview can make a really big difference because it can be positioned into very different niche areas. Now, if you have an access to a particular podcaster, you would need to be pitching like you would a speaking position. But I think there are some incredible opportunities on Facebook. There are actual groups that are looking for podcast guests. Be selective, make sure that you are scrutinizing a little bit what the host is about, how much they've done around podcasting, what their audience is like. But I do think there's great benefit in being on the podcast that is very general to your topic, and also on the podcast that's very niche on your topic. I think there's value in both. You want to cross promote, Also, meaning you can support that person's podcast so that you can also have them promote your book. At times, you might have to pay for this. And if you're interested in our special offers, we have many to mention about this particular area, as well as the other 2 points I gave you, which I'll tell you a little bit about at the end of this. But one of the groups I really recommend is called Need a Guest. Great group on Facebook. They are looking for people all the time, many different podcasters. But also try and follow reputable podcasts and podcasters that you really like, so that you can get a sense of what is very interesting to listen to. What do audiences die to know more about? Literally, people are in desperate situations. If your book handles topics that are around some of the life-saving areas of knowledge and information and experience, you want to really listen in for how do you present the content in ways that is a little different to others, maybe less heavy, maybe more informative. Find your distinctive difference, because this is going to make a really big difference to how you pitch and how often you'll be selected. And then, of course, I did mention here as well that you could offer to guest on podcasts in the groups, but you would have to pitch on email. So it's not always that easy to just get a yes response. But in the famous podcasters' manuals around how they succeed, you'll see that they started off doing very simple interviews as well. So this is a place to start. If you are very well established, all my 3 tips help for you as well. That's community, credibility, and communicating in different ways. We all know that building this audience is so important. The visibility, the power of the group, the kind of culture you get to create with everybody, and that you are in fact the facilitator or leader of this community. So it's really important that people hear more from you, and that's why it would really help promote your book. Secondly, the credibility, being able to be nominated for awards or to be able to stand for certain positions because you have expertise in that book. This can obviously increase if you are an academic or a researcher, or you've really done a PhD and written a book on it. Of course, this kind of nomination for book awards would really suit you. And the nomination can stretch beyond into like actually publishing smaller articles about it in much more highly reputable sources. Then you've also got this interview format that I said around communicating, my 3rd tip, because communicating is something that you can do audially, you can do it visually, and you can do it in the written word. So try and find different ways to be able to use all the senses as you communicate about your book. Maybe you could record a quick audio about it and send that to your list. Maybe you could get on a podcast, get interviewed, like I've spent some time sharing with you here. Maybe you can do some infographics about 3 key points that you learned writing your book and put it on Instagram. Some really interesting and creative ways to get that important content out in interesting ways. Now, I want to just say at the very end here that we do have very beautiful partners, 21 media partners. This whole series of webinars I've been doing on Facebook and on YouTube, most of it is on Facebook, and some of them are on non-recorded special events, has been to showcase the publicity and visibility partners that I developed over the last 6-7 years. This is because I've been elevating global female leaders onto stage, 160 so far, but now we do it year by year on the subject of integrative health. We're also showcasing spiritual teachers, healers, energy workers, and kind of innovators, pioneering minds in different campaigns. And we also have a special slot for online professionals, business strategists, VAs, and people who want to help build wealth and financial stability. Now, these are all speaking positions, but because of them, we've developed an incredible list of partners that help showcase our experts every time we launch, every time we run a conference and a summit. We have certain places that we promote. And some of these partners we have very special offers. We promote them and they help promote us. We, of course, have paid partnerships to do that because we have paid advertising in magazines, on podcasts, and so we have certain done-for-you package. If you're interested in health, or if you are looking to develop your career in health, we can also train and teach you how to build your publicity and visibility. And book promotion is just one aspect. So by no means should that be the only place that you work on, but if you have written a book, you have some of my key tips here, but you can also promote anything you do, including your book, in our Women of Truth group. If you're a woman, female leader, on a Friday in our group, it's free. You can promote anything you do. But according to these 3 tips I gave you today, I want to share with you the very specific partners that I think you can really think about working with if you're interested in promoting your book in one of these ways. For example, I have a great collaborator called Dr. Angelica Benavides. She's from Los Angeles, a Spanish American woman who did a PhD on education and how you present content to educate. This led her into very specialized niche collective book projects, and she's now developed an amazing strategy to build a community around your book concept to help teach you how to leverage that community into a marketing and publicity type campaign and platform around it so that you can actually work on your content, your merchandise, and your product to get more and more life out of it and to teach, to educate people around what your book is about. The second one I mentioned is the nomination around credibility. I have happened to know a few people in the marketplace. Someone I want to recommend who's a partner of ours is Jill Lublin. She's someone that you can look up, Jill Lublin, online. You'll see on LinkedIn, on some of our pages, we even have mentioned her many times. She's been on our summits. Same with Angelica. She's actually featured in my book this year because she really believes in helping people tell their stories, to really leave a legacy of what you've learned in your life. Very important. Now, Jill Lublin, as I just mentioned, is a PR expert. She works a lot with book promotion, and she gets books published even in New York, in LA, travels to Scotland for the book awards, and does an enormous amount of PR for authors. So if you're interested, check that out because you'll see what I mean about award ceremonies. There are many attached to Jill's work. Then I also mentioned communicating with a third tip that I gave to you today, which are podcasters. You can get in touch with me again if you want any of these experts I've mentioned or any PR people that I've spoken about. But we have Sharon Falk. Sharon is actually able to troubleshoot one of the biggest challenges for most professionals nowadays is getting the right visibility at the right time. And she is a podcast PR professional. She actually will select niche podcasts for your topic and put you in front of audiences that really want to know what it is that you have to say. So Sharon's one of our partners, and she's also part of our Done For You package this year, which is for health professionals, giving them an opportunity to actually have the great privilege of being on 5 podcasts for the whole year, together with another 9 different amazing features. If you want to know more about that, you can go onto my Women of Truth page on Facebook, or you can actually get into the group Women of Truth Yin. You can send me a PM, you can leave a comment, or you can check out my website, being rebranded though, so be a bit patient, www.helenaha.com. We are looking for 20 health professionals this year, and as I mentioned, spiritual teachers as well, online professionals, and extra visionaries, the pioneering researchers, innovators of our time. So these are all different projects we run. We also work on youth. So if you're interested to present your content from your book in a speaking format, in communicating your message out, we train you in this as well in our inner circle in the Women of Truth membership. But we also have the Done For You package, as I mentioned, which is a year-long promotion with 6 visibility moments. I'm wishing you the best for your journey forward to brand and promote your brand and to extract some jewels, some pearls of wisdom from your book, pop them on a few infographics, put them on your social media, and hyperlink me, and I will also give you a comment and a like. Lots of love, everybody. Take care. Bye.